Hello and welcome once again to New Junction. Right, as you can see, the ballast is down. We've got one line on the main line working, just touch wood, and the ballast, believe it or not, is now glued and dry and rock solid. It does require a lot of fettling, so I've literally glued the ballast in between videos. I've freed up the first line, so this line works. The rest are a basket case currently, and so there's lots of fettling to do here on the layout, but progress, that's the main thing, progress. Right, so what am I going to do in this video? Well, as you can imagine, I've actually had quite a bit of a gap because I mean the glue on the ballast has taken about 7 or 8 days to dry, as we're on. Some bits are still a bit patchy, so I thought I'm going to change tact, get a couple of trains running because they haven't been for a week, and focus on a bit more of the details here on the layout, start to put together the framework, which is hopefully going to start to bring the scenery to the forefront of the progress. Right, let's waffle and let's take a closer look down at the front end. So I brought you closer into the main scene of this side of the layout. You're probably sick of seeing it by now, but it isn't half improving week on week. I took a look back at some of the photos I've been posting on the Facebook page, and you can really see how it's developing and coming on. But there's so much more to do which will transform this scene. So one of the common questions I'm having online is how much of this stuff did I actually use on the layout? Now, there's probably 3-4 foot boards, so 12 feet, 4 lines of track been ballasted, and I'm currently, what would you say, 2/3 through 1 bag of this stuff, and this was £3. So great tip there, I think. And so far, touch wood, it's looking quite nice. Now, as I said a minute ago, there's lots of fettling to do to get this track work looking neater. So during the gluing process, spraying it all and washing it all down, the ballast can lose its shape, bits can get to places you don't want it to be, like on the sleeper heads, etc. So that all needs going over with a small flathead screwdriver and just neatening it all up. And but that's a job for off camera because it's a bit time consuming, a bit dull, and I wanted to get trains running for this video. So speak of the devil. Now, top tip for anyone who has just ballasted is don't use your best locos, never use your best stock. So what I tend to do is use old Hornby Mark 1s, which have wheels with giant flanges, because what they do is they show up any lumps and bumps in the ballast, and then sort of just highlight areas that I need to address the ballast, which is too high or sat against the inside of a rail. Also, top tip for you, dig out an old locomotive or a new one that doesn't have a stair live, because that will show up any spots where the track still has glue or paint that needs cleaning down. And it's just an excellent way of being able to play trains and having an excuse to do so. Anyway, on to the scenery. Well, that's typical, isn't it? I'm the other side of the layout, and the first coach on the Class 20 is just derailed. So, last time you may have seen that I visited West Hill Wagon Works. Now that was a bit selfish because I wanted some of the angled fencing, and of course it was an excuse to play trains. But also they have quite a few new products. So in previous videos you've seen I was going to use their 3D printed cable trunking. Since that video, which has only been a couple of months, they've released a newer one, which is, as you can see, much thicker, much more detailed. Like, for example, they've got, can't even pick up, got pieces with the lids off and things like that, and you can see all the cables. And that comes in a variety of packs. So you've got things like, you might not be able to see that, raised troughing. You've got the various pieces where the front's open, angled and curved pieces, and then of course straight pieces. Now what's quite remarkable, because I'm always a bit nervous with this kind of product because of how many of these I will need. However, in each pack you get an absolute country mile of these. That's double-sided 3D prints, and you get loads in a pack, and of course some point motors. So, enough to keep me busy. There's also fun accessories like the raised cabinets, things like that, which I think are quite fun, because I was going to have the cabinets anyway, but having them raised just adds a bit more detail and a bit more scenic interest once they're installed. Now, because my focus is on the cable trunking, etc., and all where the scenic wiring and things will go, I've also got myself some of the scale model scenery orange cables, which go underneath the lines. Now, ordinarily they used to come in orange, and they are more predominantly in black these days, but I wanted something to stand out and make a bit of interest, so I went for the orange ones. So you may have noticed in this particular area I've broken out a box of the clump foliage from Woodland Scenics, just to hide the white plaster, visible plaster, while I decide what to do. I've also got some of the gable walling, the sort of crates filled with stone to hold back loose land, if you like, and I got this from Chris Clenton of the Rail Nuts team, who are doing making tracks. So thank you very much, Chris. He very kindly answered to my pestering and provided some of those. And what I'm going to do is dig them into the hill scene eventually, and maybe use it as a bit of an area where some wiring cabinets have had to be put. Just gives it purpose, if you like. So, with all that in mind, what I'm going to do now is pretty much study Google Earth, because that's a very handy tool for railways, and see where the cable trunking goes, and line it all up and put it in place. So this particular area, which is the Hadley Wood Tunnel, the cable trunking actually comes out of the tunnel on the right hand side as you're looking at it, comes away from the track with the drains, these lovely blue things from Scale Model Scenery, there on the inside, and of course no higher than the rail head. Comes out and follows the track down, and then gets closer as it comes towards the further down the line, I should say. So with all these angles and shapes and things you get from West Hill Wagon Works' new stuff, which I should add just locked together, I'm going to try and recreate something now which would hopefully mimic the real thing, but I've got to keep in mind what will actually need connections. So I've got the point motor down here, let the train go past in case you can't hear me. So I've got a point motor down here. I'm likely to have a signal somewhere here, which will be a gantry, so that will need power, and that's pretty much it. And of course the fenced raised cable cabinets as well over here. So I'm going to try and put this together and sort of tell the story of the electrics. Ultimately it's going to be buried in scenery, and you probably won't notice it so well, but it does make it worth doing and does make a difference for some pocket money-esque products. Right, let's see what I can do. got to admit that took me far too long. I was enjoying myself far too much there, just prattling around with bits of 3D printed plastic. As you can see, even my man has got bored to death of it. But it improves the look of the area, which is all good. And what I've decided to do as well is the bits that are broken, i.e. designed broken, so like the tops have come off, etc., showing the wires underneath. I'm going to put them not so much on the main line, but actually on the heritage line, just to sort of show a bit more unkept sort of railway compared to the main line, which is obviously catered to by Network Rail. Opening up the scene again, I'm going to leave the cable trunking as is. It wouldn't be too much trouble just to glue it in place. However, because I'm going to have overhead catenary on all this, I want to be able to move this should it be in the wrong position for the overhead catenary. So I'm not going to glue it just yet. And I'm also going to leave the bloke face down. Moving on, as you can see on this hillside, there's a ever so slight dip in the terrain. Now that was done on purpose because I wanted to put fence in between the main line at the back and the heritage line up the front. However, if it was on the same height, it'd probably block the view. So my thought process was have a slightly lower dip. So once that's in, from viewing distance, you can still see over the fence with a clear view, but still have the fence in place. I'm now going to go run along this edge and fill in all the fence. Now this is the original Wills fence, which is very rigid in comparison to the West Hill stuff, which is going to go up and around the hills. So this should be perfect for this job. And of course it's slightly shorter as well, so more viewing for the general public. So although the fence positioning might look a bit random coming off here, what it does do is give me a barrier to start building up scenery. So for example, if I decided to have grass banks here, I could have bushes on this side and then up to the fence, and it just gives me a nice dividing line and then helps separate the scenery. And of course eventually this will all be bedded in anyway, so I'm yet to decide. I'd like a bit of a sort of overgrown hillside here because the heritage line wouldn't necessarily take as much care as Network Rail would on this side. However, I've got to do the whole thing without being too overgrown because obviously exhibition layout, we're looking at it this way, and if I was to fill this with trees and whatnot, you won't be able to see the nice trains. One other tip as well is when I'm putting the fence in, as you can see, you've got the proud framework of the fence on one side and then the flush finish on the other. Now, because in theory this fence would have been put up by Network Rail, who would be the main line in this case, I'm going to put it so the framework, the inside of the fence, is on Network Rail's side, and then the flush side is on the outside. Small things. And there we go, now the fence is in for this board. You can see that because it's on the lower lying bit of this hill, it doesn't obstruct the view from standing height at all of the main line, and hopefully adds a nice bit of detail. Also frames the scene if I wanted to come really low and just film the heritage line. Gives a nice backdrop at the top. So moving on from the Wills fencing over the front, which is fairly easy to put in, particularly on a flatter surface, we now move on to the West Hill Wagon Works stuff, which I picked up on their open day. As you can see, it's all 3D printed and comes pre-attached to its 3D printed frame. So when you're ready, you cut this off and then remove it, and then you can spray it up as I've done previously. And same again, I've used the Humbrol green spray, which I think matches quite well to the real thing. Now, this will take, I think, rather a bit longer to install than the Will stuff, so I'm planning on doing a few bits at a time every time I come in. Now, as you'd imagine, because I've already put the scenic scatter down, it's going to be difficult, I think, to get the fence to stick to the scene. However, West Hill Wagon Works, the clever guys they are, have come up with these magnets. Basically, it's a magnetic stand, and you put it on the fence. So in my case, I'm going to put it either side of the flat bit of this fence, the horizontal bit. Talk amongst yourselves. Like so. And then what I'd do is I'd find where it best sits, and then I'm free to glue that in position. But like I say, it's going to be one piece at a time. Although I do have a few of these, so I could probably do more than one piece, but let's see how it goes. I'm going to try scratching off just underneath the fence posts with the scalpel. I'm probably going to try some rocket car glue for speed, but ordinarily I'd probably use something like PVA and let it sit. But yeah, time to put one in. So I know I shouldn't be looking at details just yet, but I couldn't help myself. I found these network rail bulk bags, as they're called. In real life, they're giant canvassy things that hold ballast, as you can see from the lovely picture. Now, they are just a paper kit, but cheap and cheerful. A nice little addition. And as you can see, they make quite neat little accessories to go on the layout. Now, this is paper, and my garage is quite damp, so we'll see how this goes, but yeah, this will enhance the scene somewhat. And as you can see, the scene improves with every small baby step. Now, you can see pretty much where I'm going with it. The fences will continue, particularly around the tunnel mouths themselves. And then we can look to move on to things like grasses, bushes, trees, etc. And all the fun stuff that really lift a scene. Whether it not just be the trains, but it's nice to have nice visuals to look at as well, and hopefully start getting some really nice photographic and videographic vistas as well from this side of the layout. So I'm going to continue now with more of the same, going down the layout, getting the cable trunking all the way down, the drains, etc. Well, as I said, the fence. Oh, never mind. So I'll ballast all of this side, and it's over there that it derails. I've got no hope. Right, so where was I? So next I've got Model Railway Scotland, so there probably won't be a video on this layout for a couple of weeks yet, but I will continue with the jobs that you've seen me start in this particular video. So yeah, we'll get them finished, and then we'll look to the scenery, and hopefully I'll be visiting another special visitor. Another special guest will appear on the channel, who will be able to talk to us a bit more about grasses. Now, there's a clue for you. Right, thank you as ever for watching, and of course, thank you very much to the channel Patreons. You know who you are, and don't forget, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel and see all the update progress, you can do by hitting the button down below on my left, your right. Anyway, I hope to see you all at Model Rail Scotland. I'll be there every day, and I'll be, of course, on the Akira Scale stand. So do come and say hello. We might even have something special for you to see. So for now, I want to go and turn the trains off and continue gluing fences down. Bye for now.